Okay, so let's go ahead and go live, shall we? We shall. All right. Hey there, students. Tom Richey here, and we have got, it is officially exam week, and this is going. I tell you what, we have got some AP Euro review tonight. Now, for the next couple nights, we're going to take a little break from AP Euro. I've got to go show A-Push some love, my friend George Washington there. So we're going to take a couple nights off, focus on A-Push, and then I will be back on Thursday, okay? I will be back on Thursday, and we will have the night before Euro, and then on Friday, we've got breakfast with Richey, which is going to start at 9 a.m. Eastern on Friday before the exam. That's an annual tradition we've got. And so with that, also note that if you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and go into the description and click on join with Crowdcast, because it went in the Crowdcast, that's where the chat gets like really lit and all of that kind of stuff. We got Emma here claiming to be my biggest fan. All right. So with that, now, also, I want y'all to note, I'm sharing this in Crowdcast, and there's also a link in the description. At 10 p.m. Eastern time tonight, I'm going to be doing a premium salon review. Okay, it's like going to be an enlightenment salon kind of setup where it's only limited to, what is it, 25, 30 people? I forget, but it's like 25 or 30 people. It is a small group review that is basically going to be kind of like a class of people. And this is going to be like a, a 90-minute session. This is going to be something, 30 people tops, that if you join this premium review, I've never been asked for my money back on a premium review, which actually I think there was one time where I think a kid got like a hold of their parents' credit card and they asked for their refund, and I was like, okay, whatever. So make sure to ask your parents. But at the same time, remember, 10 p.m. Eastern, I will be doing a premium salon review, and that is just a classroom size review, no more than 30 people. I've got it capped. So with that, let's go ahead and poggers, we got some pogs in the chat here. So I'm going to be looking every once in a while at at what we've got on on YouTube. But for the most part, I'm going to be monitoring the chat in Crowdcast. Okay, so just keep that in mind there. But at the same time, I love those of you on YouTube. So going with this, we get a shout out to Mr. Gelmans Class. All right. So with this, now Unit 9 is basically after World War II. Now, I don't anticipate this unit figuring very large on the first exam, at least, the one that's going to be given this Friday. But let's go ahead and take a look at the questions we've got coming in. First of all, a lot of people want to know, how do you recommend not getting overwhelmed with the amount of studying to prepare for the exam, especially the week of? Okay, so part of this is setting realistic expectations. So, for example, if you don't know what complex understanding is or how to get it, this is not the time, okay? This is not the time to say, I tell you what, I don't know a darn thing about a DBQ. I've never written one, and I'm going to get a 7 on this sucker. I wouldn't be thinking about that, okay? I would be thinking in terms of, how can I get a reliable 4 or 5 or something like that? So managing your expectations. Now, also, I would go ahead and, instead of thinking, I have to study all the material, instead of thinking that, think in terms of, I'm committing this amount of time to study. Okay, so I'm going to give, like, I'm going to watch Tom Richey's live stream. I mean, if you go to the Salon review, which we've actually got poggers. We've got our first, Margot. Thank you so much. The first to sign up for tonight's premium Salon review. And if you go to that one, that's some bonus points, So it's like the time that you spend in live reviews, that's time studying. Okay, and then, you want to think in terms of how much time I'm going to put here. And then go through the topics and find topics that you've got, a high level of interest, but you don't know anything about. Those are the topics that you should study first. High interest, low knowledge. Okay, that's what I recommend, because if you're like, what, that Peter the Great guy seemed really interesting, but we really didn't get into him. And so go study Peter the Great. Okay, I've got a video on that. It's going to be in your book, all that kind of stuff. Warm water porch, And so with that, I wouldn't recommend, like, okay, I don't know anything about this. I don't know anything about the commercial revolution, and it's totally lame. That's what I'm going to study. it's not going to be any good to do something that's going to put you to sleep. Now, let me go ahead and do a poll here in the Crowdcast. And remember, those of you on YouTube can join Crowdcast. Y'all just go into the description. All right. So with this, what is my question? What is your target score? Your target score on this exam. Okay. So are you looking to get a 3? Are you looking to get a 4? Are you looking to get a 5? Like, which score is going to help you? Like, you're going to sleep at night. You're going to say, like, I'm pleased with this. Now, not like, oh yeah, I'm going to get a 5, even though I haven't studied, but yeah, so think about setting an expectation and realizing that you don't need to know everything even to get a 5. Now, one thing that I'm really fond of saying is you can get a 5 without any kind. You can not have complex understanding on either essay and still make a 5 if you do really well in your multiple choice and your SAQs. So when you think about that, don't try to study everything, because that's going to drive you crazy at this point. Like, really, there are 3 types of AP students. There are the ones that start studying for the exam 2 months ahead. Then there are people who start studying for the exam 2 months ahead. And then there are those who start studying like 2 days ahead or within 2 days ahead or something like that. So we see a lot of y'all with 4s, and really a path to a 4, if you get like, if we think about this, when you're thinking about a path to a 4, if we think like, 35, multiple choice questions, like, 6 out of 9 on the SAQs, and then like a 5 DBQ and a 4 LEQ, then that is going to, if we look at AP Euro score calculator, and with that, going into here, my friends at Albert IO, they've got a score calculator here. And so just to show you that, like setting expectations and setting an amount of time to study rather than saying you've got to study everything. Okay, so let's say 35 questions, 6 on the SAQs, 5 out of 7, 4 out of 6. Okay, that gets you a 4. Okay, put it up a little bit for some cushion, but 35 out of 55, that's going to be enough to get you a 4 on this exam. And again, you don't have to get complex understanding and all that to get a 4. So don't try to prepare for an exam that's supposed to take a year to prepare for in a week and think you're going to do everything. So manage your expectations, and that is going to be the biggest thing here. Okay, the biggest thing is managing your expectations. And so even with a 5, you don't have to be perfect in order to get a 5 on this exam. So going from there, just that's my advice. Set times instead of saying I'm going to study it all. And remember, high interest, low knowledge. Those are the topics you want to study. And you can go to the AP European History course and exam description, and you can pick what are the topics you want to study. Okay, so as far as that goes, what are the most important names to know for the test? Okay, swag, and then a lot. Y'all are being really helpful, TF and Jess. Now, what I'm going to do here, let's play a game. Y'all want to play a game? Y'all want to play a game? Shout out to Mr. Winnington and his winning beard. All right. So with that, the website I just showed was my friends at Albert IO. You can just Google AP Euro score calculator. And so I'm just going to start like responding. Okay, I'm going to respond to this question. The beard tax, Peter the Great. Okay, most important names to know. Let me just go ahead and count. Like, I'm just going to name off like 20 people. Okay, Peter the Great, Simone de Beauvoir, Galileo, Petrarch. Okay, we would think in terms of that, and then I would say Machiavelli. Yeah, I probably should have started going in order, right? Then you think about Erasmus is somebody important to know. Then we would look at Bernini, Ignatius of Loyola, Teresa of Avila. Then we would get into some others here. Okay, so going from there, Gustavus Adolphus would be important. Let me go ahead and direct you to a website that I think is very helpful, and that's part of the reason because I designed some of this stuff myself. MarcoLearning.com/AP Euro. Okay, I've got several study guides that I've made. Now, in a few years, we'll have probably a full set of study guides, but we've got, several study guides focusing on the first 2 units, Renaissance and Reformation. And this is something that you can go in here and you can download, for example, the Catholic Reformation. Now, it just basically tells you when you look at these, like, okay, Catholic Reformation, Ignatius of Loyola, there's an important guy. Okay, the Council of Trent. Okay, okay? Then there is Bernini, Teresa of Avila. So we've got some things here for you as well. But, you know, Louis the 14th, Peter the Great, you know, Winston Churchill, you know, Stalin and Hitler and Mussolini, those, you know, those infamous folks over there with the totalitarianism. Then Margaret Thatcher is somebody that would be like Unit 9. I would think Margaret Thatcher, Nikita Khrushchev, Brezhnev, the Brezhnev Doctrine. You know, that's something important, which we need to talk about that. We want to focus on Unit 9, but I'm getting a lot of questions about studying. So there we go. So those are some important names, but there are a lot more than that. It's kind of hard to do some things here. Now, art styles, Jess. I'm going to be announcing, I haven't created it yet, but the night before the exam, I have a premium art review, okay? Mary Grace, okay, LMAOIKR. The chat's already going in the Salon review. So y'all look at the description, or those of you in Crowdcast, just take a look at my other offerings there. The Salon review is happening at 10. We've already got 4 in there, up to 30. But, you know, if we've got like 10 in there, we're going to have 10 in there. I mean, that's basically, you know, what we'll do. So with that, I'm going to do an art review. It's going to be a $10 admission ticket, you know, but I'm going to be going over Renaissance, Mannerism, Baroque, Neoclassicism, Romanticism, Realism, then going into some of that like 20th, you know, Impressionism, then going into some of that 20th century stuff like Dada and Expressionism. So those are the art styles that I would encourage you to look at. But the night before the exam, I usually do a live stream where we will be, it's a premium stream. Like I said, it'll be a $10 admission ticket, and it'll be like a 90-minute art review. And then I'm going to go in here and look at all the styles. But those are the styles you should keep in mind. All right. And so with that, do I think the DBQ will be contemporary Europe? Now, as far as that goes, that I seriously doubt, Emma, that the DBQ for the paper pencil, the one that's coming up on Friday, I seriously doubt that the DBQ will be post-World War II, because POV analysis, the College Board will take a lot of heat for that, because we've got basically these people, you know, coming to be the first sheep to the slaughter in early May, when some people didn't even start school until like, you know, mid to late September, because of the coronavirus. I don't see the DBQ on the paper pencil being post-1945. Now, the Test Development Committee could feel differently about that. Now, again, this is just my professional opinion. I don't think the College Board is going to make that DBQ post 1945. So with that, that's just my view. Now, the June one could be anything, really. I mean, if you think about if you're doing the June administration, and this is a great time to go ahead and ask y'all, you know, when are you, those of you in the Crowdcast, you know, when are you taking the exam? Okay, so let's do early May. Okay, so early May, that's like basically this week. You know, this week, the paper pencil. Okay. Okay, paper pencil. Y'all go ahead, team paper pencil. Y'all light up the chat. Light up the chat here. Team paper pencil. All right. And with that, one of these things, ladies and gentlemen, I'm thinking as a gag this time, find a way to write PogChamp or Poggers somewhere on your DBQ. Like Napoleon, it'll be like the death of Napoleon, like an anniversary of the death of Napoleon. 200 years since the death of Napoleon on Wednesday. We might need to do something about that, okay? We might need to celebrate, but it would be like Napoleon, you know, overthrew the directory like a PogChamp, okay? And if you could put something like that, I just think it'd be a really funny joke. So putting PogChamp somewhere in your DBQ. Now, also, I'm going to be doing some Instagram shout outs. So at Tom Richey on Instagram. Now, you also want to make sure to follow at Marco Learning, and I need to make sure that I've got my phone so that I can do shout outs. There's my phone. All right. So with that, at Tom Richey, you know, at Tom Richey on Instagram. Also, if you follow at Marco Learning, I can, you know, I can do some shout outs for that as well. So with that, y'all just, you know, y'all just get on there. Jacob Beecher just followed me. Thank you, Jacob, for that Instagram follow. So this week, and then we've got, you know, late May and early June. Okay. Now, I just think that a lot of people would cry foul if we're looking at, if the Test Development Committee like put a post World War II DBQ. I think a lot of people would cry foul if they did that this week. That's why I think they're not going to do it. Now, I'm not daring them to do that, but the thing is, they already designed that a long time ago. All right, and we've got six in the, Salon review. So I'm looking forward to that. So with that, are we allowed to use our notes? Okay, as far as that goes, there will not be an opportunity to look at your notes during the break. Like, as far as I know, you are giving up your phones. You are in a controlled setting from the time you walk into the multiple choice. So yeah, you will not be able, as far as I know it, to look at your notes. Okay, how to have confidence. Okay, Ella, when I think about this, this is something, how to have confidence. You just need to have it, okay? And let me do this based on the scientific revolution, okay? There was a guy named Blaise Pascal. Now, the scientific revolution is about a new way of thinking. I know we need to get to contemporary Europe, but y'all don't seem too interested in that. And frankly, I'm not either. So with that, but actually the next question does have something about contemporary Europe. So we're going to get to that. So how to have confidence. Blaise Pascal, that even if you're a man of faith, person of faith, you also need some kind of rational or scientific justification. So Blaise Pascal was a mathematician and also a Christian theologian. And let's imagine the Cartesian plane, Descartes. I think before I am, I think therefore I am, cogito ergo sum, that the Cartesian plane, with the quadrants, let's imagine that, okay? So Pascal, he says, look, logically, check this out. God exists or he does not. Okay, we can agree on that, right? God exists or he does not. So Pascal says that, look at this. This is why I believe in God. He says quadrant one, positive, positive, right? When we're thinking about math. I'm not that good at math, but I'm going to try. Quadrant one here. God exists and I believe. I'm going to heaven, Lieutenant Diane. Now, quadrant two. God does not exist and I believe. Dirt nap. And you know what? I might have missed out on having a little fun, but I lived a pretty decent life and I'm pretty proud of myself because, Christianity does have a lot of good moral teachings and whatnot. So dirt nap. Quadrant three, God exists or God does not exist and I don't believe. Dirt nap. Basically, if God does not exist, it doesn't matter whether you believe or not. That person, it's like, there you go. Now, quadrant four is the problem because that is where God exists and you did not believe. Burn, baby, burn. Okay. I mean, that is like you are on fire forever. Okay. And so basically, this is where Blaise Pascal said, in the spirit of the scientific revolution, that I believe in God. My faith is actually rational because I have more to gain by believing and more to lose by not believing. Okay. That's his rational justification. So here's the thing. If you know enough to pass the exam, then having confidence will help you. If you don't know enough to pass the exam, then no amount of confidence or not confidence will help you at all. If you know what you need to know and you don't have confidence, you could end up second guessing yourself into failure. So here's the thing. Don't think about whether you deserve to have confidence. It's like, I've got confidence, and just swagger in there. I mean, just show everybody how much, how much swag you've got, just drive into the parking lot, like playing Soldier Boy or something like that. I mean, that's the thing. Just go. Yeah. You know what? I think, yeah, go play some Soldier Boy or something like that. All right. Go and do that. Okay. So basically, I think that in general, rap music is great for confidence. Okay. So that is my recommendation. So with that, Europe after World War II, other than the Cold War, okay? Now, one thing that we want to know is that after World War II, the United States and the Soviet Union basically emerge as superpowers. And the United States is going in as far as, the United States is, let's see. So the United States is a lot of military spending. And the United States starts NATO, which basically includes most of Western Europe. Now, the United States also does the Marshall Plan. And so the Marshall Plan, the European Recovery Plan, basically don't go to communism, and we will, don't go to communism, and we are going to give you money. So basically the United States, and thank you those of you on YouTube that are giving this a thumbs up, that helps for the visibility of the stream. So thank y'all so much for that. And so going from there, when we're thinking about that the United States has a big military. The United States is giving European countries money to rebuild their economies. They have extra money, which means welfare state. Okay, it's free welfare state. That's actually, I need to do a meme tomorrow. Okay, so the United States is basically, giving the Marshall Plan, and then the United States has this big military that's protecting Western Europe. It's free welfare state. So what happens here is that European, states start expanding their welfare states because they are getting money to rebuild their economies, and they don't have to spend a lot of money on the military. And so one of the best examples of this is the National Health Service in Britain, which is founded in 1948. Okay, so when we look at the National Health Service, that this is something that basically the British decide, you know what? Healthcare is just going to be a taxpayer-funded thing for everybody. Okay, so we see here that the National Health Service is founded, after World War II. Okay, so with that, general taxation funds the NHS. So we want to note that that the National Health Service is an example of the massive expansion of European welfare states in the decades after, after World War II. So the National Health Service, we see here that the logo of the National Health Service, in England, and then National Health Service Scotland. I thought somebody was trolling that, like the logo in England and then Scotland. Okay, so Scotland's like, hey, we've got our own, y'all. All right, so with that, that this is something that the NHS. Now, another thing, though, that what's going to happen, though, is eventually the government's going to grow so much that it's going to get to where, like, labor unions in the UK are going to basically be running the table in the 1970s. And that is where you've got the winter of discontent in the UK. Now, since we're going to talk about the winter of discontent, let me go ahead and balance this out by shouting out to a few people who've recently followed me on Instagram, such as Sylvie and Megs and Lindsay and Avamer and Say D-Star and Millie and Karis Ma Phelps, Macy, Ole. We've got Ellie and Julia. Thank y'all for the likes. And with that, Mia, Ashley, Sophia, Kit, Emma, Caitlin, Ariana, Tosh XA, and Guillermo. And, we've got a lot of folks. Brahm, I saw you in the chat, huh? And then Chloe and Brady and Zara, Allie and Roxy. Dragon Boss 1918. That's a very powerful Instagram handle there. And y'all make sure, for good luck, go ahead, and for good luck, you want to go ahead and like the most recent post. Goya's the 3rd of May, okay? And you can actually get a little AP Euro tip here that it goes into Napoleon's expanding empire created nationalist responses throughout Europe. So with that, let's go ahead and get some let's go ahead and get some likes on that. Okay, that would make me happy. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, thank y'all so much for all the fresh follows. Josie Ann, thank you so much. And Liv and Aditz Hanoi. Aditz, I think you might have actually just done that and followed me again to get another shout out. So the winter of discontent, okay, this is the winter of 1978, 1979, which is one of the coldest winters that the UK ever had, okay? One of the coldest winters that we've ever seen in the UK. And so that is something where basically the labor unions, including like the garbage collectors union, and there are others like some of the NHS workers, okay, National Health Service, they're like, you know what, we're going to form picket lines outside the hospitals, so that many hospitals were reduced to taking emergency patients only. So the garbage collectors are on strike, garbage is piling up, health workers are on strike, making it hard to get into the hospital. And there are a lot of people that are like, oh, thank you, Corey, for all of your support there. And so going from here, You know, we can see here that yeah, so Corey's got a lot of support showing there. You know, with the like spree. So Corey, you have been noticed. Okay, you have officially been noticed, and it looks like Ashton is Ashton. You have been noticed as well. Okay, so we'll go ahead and Beaumont, Texas. Okay, so is that yeah, I may know who your teacher is. So with that, let's see, is this any of Miss Lemaster's students in here? Because she is awesome. Okay, a lot of awesome teachers out there. But basically what goes on is people are like, who's going to do something about like the labor unions, and who's going to, you know, just who's gonna shake things up? And that is Margaret Thatcher. Okay, so Margaret Thatcher, you know, is someone who is going to be, now she's got the distinction of being the first elected head of government in Europe, okay, in European history, the first elected head of government. Now, not head of state, but head of government, okay? So head of state, of course, is Queen Elizabeth II, but the first elected head of government. And she was a leader of the Conservative Party, the longest serving British prime minister of the 20th century, and the first and only, I believe, you know, actually, no, you've had Theresa May, who was much less memorable. Theresa May was much less memorable, but basically, you know, known as the Iron Lady, like she was there from 1979 to 1990, okay? And so she is responsible for a series of, you know, a series of policy positions known as Thatcherism, okay? Thatcherism is something that, you know, this is something that, you know, when we're looking at this, this is something that conservatives, British conservatives, have continued to some extent to be on some of these, you know, the same page here. Okay, so as far as that goes, that that there is a rejection of what they call this post-war consensus. Okay, Keynesianism. Okay, Keynesian economics is basically an economic system that is a market economic system. Okay, Keynesianism is about a free market economy, but it's regulated. It is a regulated market economy. So it is a market economy, just with a lot of regulations. The welfare state, nationalized industry, and close regulation of the British economy. Margaret Thatcher is against these things, okay? Now, one thing to note, that Margaret Thatcher never challenged the National Health Service. That is something that she never challenged, but she did, you know, she did say that you know, she did privatize other industries. And so what we'll see here, you know, she was very much a nationalist. Also, she was an economic liberal. Okay, she was the head of the Conservative Party, but very economically liberal. Now, remember that in a European history context, economic liberalism means a free market economy. You know, what we typically would think of in the United States as fiscal conservatism, you know, low taxes, low regulation, all of that kind of stuff. You know, this is economic liberalism if we're looking at it, you know, if we're looking at it from there. Okay, so economic liberalism is basically deregulation, low taxes, you know, and all of that. So Margaret Thatcher was an economic liberal, but a social conservative, somebody who was, you know, very much for traditional families, traditional values. Also very tough anti-communist, was like BFFs with Ronald Reagan. Now, she was also, when we think about the theme of national and European identity, okay, national European identity, I tell you what, Corey and Ashton are still making their way through the old post here, okay? So this is, I tell you what, y'all are, you know, some pog champs over there. So with that, and thank you, Gudeg Boy, Gudeg _boy, for the recent Instagram follow there. So with that, we're going to note here that Thatcher was also a Eurosceptic, okay? So when we're getting into national and European identity, we also want to note Euroscepticism, okay? So so with this, Corey's asking to be noticed, and it's like, is she even watching? You know, so not what, you know, I get this thing that says notice me, okay? You know, are you not watching? Like, you have been noticed, okay? So you have been noticed. Okay, so we just need to make that okay, so with this, it's like, okay, look, you've been noticed. All right. So with that, but thank you so much, Corey, and you have been noticed. All right. And CJ official lens 1405. Now, Euroscepticism. Now, it's spelled with a C because it is a British term. Euroscepticism, when we think about national and European identity, we want to think about like the European Union. Now, the European Union started with the European Economic Community. Okay, so the European Economic Community, this is something that was, made in 1957, the Treaty of Rome. It originally included, just some Western European countries. Britain later joined. Charles de Gaulle kept them from joining for a little while. But the European Union basically absorbed the European Economic Community. The European Economic Community was not a political union. It was only an economic union, basically a free trade zone, okay? So the European Economic Community was an economic union. And then in 1993, we have the European Union is founded. Now, the European Union has its member states. I don't know why it gives us a global map, because I don't want to see it on a round globe. I want to see it on a map of Europe. Now, a couple of things to note about the European Union. That when we're looking at the members of the European Union, there are member states. Now, of course, Britain no longer is there. And notice Norway is not a member of the European Union, and neither is Switzerland is not a member of the European Union. But a couple things that we'll note here is the Schengen area. Okay, so when we look at the Schengen area, this is hopefully, now we're hearing some things, they may be letting vaccinated tourists come into Europe this summer. Okay, fingers crossed. All right. So with this, as we're looking through here, that note here that Norway is not part of the European Union, but is part of the Schengen area. This is where you have visa-free travel. Like you can fly into France and you can take a train to Germany, and you're not going to go through customs. There was one time where I took a flight, I was flying in and I flew into Prague, and then I went through European customs in Prague and then took the next flight to the Netherlands. I didn't go through customs again. Basically, any flight within the Schengen area in normal circumstances is basically like we were flying inside the United States. Now, notice that Ireland is part of the EU, but not part of the Schengen area. Romania and Bulgaria and Croatia are not part, they're part of the EU, but they're not part of the Schengen area. And so then we notice Switzerland and Norway are not part of the EU, but they're in the Schengen area. So there's a little bit of overlap here. And then we've got what we call the Eurozone. Okay, the Eurozone is where they have adopted the euro. Okay, so in the Eurozone, they are adopting, the euro. And happy birthday, Corey. Okay, so that's the thing. That is the plot twist. It's her birthday. All right, so y'all in the chat, it'd be a real pog moment to, if we've got any pog champs, y'all wish Corey a happy birthday. All right, so with that, I hope you work as hard on your studying for your exam as you have at getting noticed. All right, so with that, when we look at the Eurozone, these are the countries that have adopted the euro. So, for example, Poland and the Czech Republic, they are in the EU, but they don't use the euro. Romania and Bulgaria, it's like, why are they even in the EU? They're not in the Schengen area. They're not in the Eurozone. It's kind of like Britain. Like Britain was not in the Schengen area, wasn't in the Eurozone. So that's what we're seeing there. So understand that the European Union is both an economic and a political union, and you've got different things within it, okay, that it's like, Sweden is in the European Union, doesn't use the euro. Now, Euroscepticism, it is, whether it's soft or hard, okay, so hard Euroscepticism says, like, we don't want to be part of the European Union. The EU is, an undemocratic and elitist institution that is destroying nations, and we need to get out of it, okay, that's hard Euroscepticism. Now, there are parties that are Eurosceptic parties. Now, you know, when you look at Brexit, that is an example of Euroscepticism. Now, soft Euroscepticism, like one thing, if we'll note the National Rally, that used to be the National Front, but the National, they call it now the National Rally. They've been going a bit more mainstream, but basically Marine Le Pen, who's the head of the National Rally, which is a right-wing party in France that is likely going to be in the next like runoff for, you know, she'll probably, you know, be facing off, more than likely be facing off against Macron in the next French presidential election. Now, the National Rally, which used to be the National Front, you know, and kind of had some problems back in the day, basically Marine Le Pen, she kicked her own father out of the party. Okay. She was like, buddy, you're too racist. Okay. You're just, you know, you're going to have to go home or go into retirement or whatever. And so basically Marine Le Pen, she used to say, let's get out of the EU entirely. But now she says she's moved her party toward soft Euroscepticism. Okay. So when we're thinking about hard Euroscepticism, that's like, you know, we need to get out of the EU. There are some anarchists who are hard Eurosceptics, okay? And so then soft Euroscepticism, again, that is basically, you know, membership, but opposition to EU policies, okay? So as far as that goes, that is Euroscepticism. And yeah, this one of my favorites here, okay? That is the EUSSR, okay? So that's something there. What have y'all done for my 3rd of May post for Goya? So we've got 700. Let's see if we can get that up to 1,000. I think that would be great to commemorate Goya. You know, it's the 3rd of May and we've got the College Board firing squads on us. So yeah, thank y'all for having fun on there. And Mia Bloom, who liked a post of Harambe. Oh my goodness, rest in peace, King. All right, thank you so much, Mia, for you know, it's just anybody who is remembering Harambe just makes me so you know, appreciative, okay? Because I mean, basically it's like Harambe gave his life so that you could make a 5 on Friday, and I'm so glad that people are appreciating that sacrifice. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, that is Euroscepticism. So those are a few things, like I would think, you know, the post-war welfare states, Thatcherism, the European Union, and Euroscepticism. Okay, those are all things here that are important here. Okay, and we've got 9 in the Salon, so I'm going to be having a you know, great time with those of y'all who have you know, who have signed up for the Salon. That is just, I'm looking forward to that. So we've got 9 of you in here so far. Remember, that is limited to 30. Y'all press F to pay respects, please. Okay, so Noah, R.I.P. Harambe, y'all go ahead and press F to pay respects. Okay, and so with that, yeah, with that, I don't expect, if you are taking the paper pencil again, I'm not expecting post-World War II stuff to really be, you know, the main thing on there. I really doubt. Oh, you know, General Kenobi. All right, we got Obi-Wan Kenobi out there in the chat on YouTube. Oh, another thing, yes, Tansley, existentialism. Okay, so the thing is, yeah, let's talk about existentialism a little bit, because that is another thing to note. One of my favorite books is Jean-Paul Sartre's Existentialism is a Humanism. Okay, so existentialism is a humanism. I'm grabbing a little bit of Sartre off my shelf. Let's grab a little Nietzsche as well. Okay, so existentialism has its roots in the 19th century with Kierkegaard and Nietzsche. Now, Friedrich Nietzsche was something of a nihilist. Like, he believed, like, existentialism is built on the belief that existence precedes essence. Existence precedes essence, okay? And so that is something there. Existence precedes essence. Now, what does that mean? Existence precedes essence. That basically, I'm Tom Richey, and I love European history. Now, thing is, I could wake up tomorrow, I could be like, you know what, George Washington, I don't like European history anymore. I can change that. Okay, existence precedes essence. The existentialist says, I exist, and that's it. And so basically, Friedrich Nietzsche, he wrote books like Beyond Good and Evil. That which is done out of love takes place beyond good and evil. That there is no good, there is no evil except what we make up. And so in The Antichrist, which is one of Nietzsche's books, he basically launches his attack on Christian morality. Okay. And so with that, with that Christian morality, he says, look, Christian morality, it glorifies, like it basically rewards people who protect the weak. Like Christianity says the strong should protect the weak. Now, Nietzsche's writing at about the same time as social Darwinism is a big thing. And so Nietzsche is, of course, influenced by this. And Nietzsche, is like, look, what is so great about the strong protecting the weak? Like, this is against nature. This is not how nature works. Why is this right? Just because, somebody says it's right, all of a sudden the strong should protect the weak. Socialism. Wow. The thing is, it's like, Nietzsche's like, why do people think this stuff's good? And so he says, what should be good is strength. Okay. And so the thing is, like, what's good shouldn't be to like, hey, let's switch seats on Friday and I'll take your test and I'll make you a 5. No, make yourself a 5. Okay. Go in there and study, Yeah. Don't take somebody else's test for them. Take your test and make a 5. Success should be something that you're proud of. And this is something as well, if we go back to the Renaissance, Castiglione, I've got a couple videos there. I bet Corey is watching it for her birthday on those videos about Castiglione. And Castiglione's like, it's okay to brag. As long as you got something to brag about, you can flex if you got something to show. And so now that's not very Christian, because Christianity is supposed to be about like, you don't have pride and all that kind of stuff. But in the Renaissance, the humanists are like, look, classical ideals, it's okay to brag if you got something to brag about. And there's a painting that Raphael painted, and he's like, you know what, I like this. He puts his name in big old letters, says Raphael did this. Yeah. And then, you've got Jean-Paul Sartre. And Jean-Paul Sartre, I've got a few books here by Sartre, if you want to read them. Probably don't, especially this one. That's a big one. I haven't even read that. I'm not going to lie. But I have read this one, and I've read this one, okay? So basically, Jean-Paul Sartre, after World War II, he publishes a lecture entitled Existentialism is a Humanism. Now, why has it got a chair there? But then again, this is kind of existentialism, because he says, we've been abandoned. Okay, like we basically exist and we have got to decide what to do with our existence. Nobody can tell us, nobody can guide us. And this idea of existence precedes essence. It's like, I exist. And that's basically my existence is all I've got and all that I know. And Sartre is like, people have criticized existentialism for giving up, like, for morals and stuff, like for giving up on morals and on, objective truth. And that makes it depressing. And Sartre says, no, it's not depressing, because you can create your own truth. Okay. That you can live according, you have the freedom. Sartre said, you are condemned to be free. You have the freedom to live the life of your choosing. And that is so beautiful. That is so beautiful. And so with that, that is something that is, that is extremely important there. And so with that, now Sartre and his, his lifelong partner, kind of unconventional lifelong partner, if we look at the index of prohibited books, Jean-Paul Sartre and Simone de Beauvoir. Simone de Beauvoir is another one I would know, that she published The Second Sex. And so, she's basically talking about women as other, that up till the time that she's writing, women have been treated as other. And so with that, she's saying that basically, what is a woman? A woman should be able to determine for herself what she is, because, and this goes along with existentialism. Now, one thing that's interesting here is as we go through the index of prohibited books, which was discontinued in the 1960s after Vatican II. The index of prohibited books, we look here, the last author to be on the index of prohibited books to be added was a woman, Simone de Beauvoir, The Second Sex and the Mandarins. Now, you see here where Jean-Paul Sartre, all of his works, 1948, the Catholic Church said all of his works are on the index of prohibited books. Now, note that they're going to be, the index of prohibited books will be done away with, but the last books to be added were Simone de Beauvoir. So I would say that she's somebody that I would definitely note. We want to note her existential feminism and her authorship of The Second Sex. Now, that's another thing that we want to note. You think about Margaret Thatcher becoming the prime minister. Before World War II, that wasn't going to happen. So first wave feminism culminated after World War I. Second wave feminism, okay? Second wave feminism culminated after World War II. First wave feminism was about political rights, getting to vote, but it did not really change a woman's place in society. So after that, women are wanting more social and economic equality, and that is second wave feminism. And Simone de Beauvoir is very, very, important for that. Okay, and there she is with Jean-Paul Sartre. Okay, they're over there in in Beijing. They were that's another thing. They were big advocates of freedom, but then they were also like supportive of Marxism, which was very fascinating. There they are sitting with Che Guevara in Cuba, and that's been one criticism of Sartre. Somebody who was such a big proponent of human freedom, that he attached himself to a philosophy that has been that has taken human freedom away from so many people. So it's a contradiction, but then again, he's an existentialist. He can be whatever he wants, right? And so with that, I've got to run over to APUSH. I've got an APUSH review at 9, but I also, remember, I've got this Salon review. We are going to be getting together at 10 p.m. Also, those of you in the crowdcast, y'all will see some things. I may post some more like premium, premium reviews. So we're going to get into a few things here. So going from there, ladies and gentlemen, hoping to see some more of you at the Salon review. We've got 10 people total so far. So if it's just 10, it'll be 10, but I'm hoping to see some more. Remember, it is capped at 30. In no circumstance will there be more than 30 people at the Salon review. And that's going to be a 90-minute review. That's going to be something, that we're going to go on for a little while. Going to have a 90-minute review. We might even go from Crowdcast to Zoom after that start, so we can have some more face-to-face interactions and stuff like that. So we'll think about that. I'm gonna take a poll here and see if the people in the in the Salon review want to do it as a Zoom, okay? Because I think that's probably going to be a better, more personal kind of thing where we can talk to each other. So going from there, ladies and gentlemen, make sure y'all are subscribed in Crowdcast. Subscribe to the YouTube. Basically, I would turn on notifications for me and also for Marco Learning. Now, I'm also going to be broadcasting on Marco Learning's YouTube channel. So make sure that you are going to youtube.com/Marco Learning. I'm going to go ahead and put that in the chats, youtube.com/Marco Learning, because I will be streaming on Marco Learning's YouTube channel. And bye, Elizabeth. Make sure y'all go to youtube.com/Marco Learning and y'all subscribe to that, because I am going to be going there the night before the exam. So let's go ahead and make sure that we go to youtube.com/Marco Learning. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to wrap this up. Y'all know that I'm going to be here at 8 p.m. Eastern the night before the exam, and then 9 a.m. the morning of the exam for the annual breakfast with Richey. So with that, y'all go ahead and have a great night studying. And again, it is always a pleasure.